All right. Yes, I am live. Yes, 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 yes. I have been looking forward to doing this all week. Man, I am very excited. It's not that I have anything special. It's not that I have anything special. I've just been excited to watch. I'm just excited to talk football. I'm just a junkie. I love football. I want to talk football. Very, very, very excited. I'm gonna pop over here. I think everything's good to go, so I am good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm probably that's a copyright infringement, probably. But yes, sir, I am. PD Sports coming in strong, man. I don't know if you're one of my regulars, man, but I love it, man. Funk, what's up, brother, man? Oh man, I am very, very, very excited. Very excited to be here. Very excited to talk football. Basically, we're going to talk a little bit draft, a little bit free agency, and we're also going to touch base on Deshaun Watson. ESPN has a nice long article. I haven't got a chance to read it all the way through yet. I am going to. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to stand by this. Number one, innocent till proven guilty. Okay? Innocent till proven guilty. Very important. Very important. So until he is considered guilty by a court of law, I'm going to stand behind Deshaun Watson. I'm going to stand behind Deshaun Watson. If that makes me a bad guy, then hey. But yeah, I'm going to stand behind him until he's guilty in a court of law. And for those of you who've been following me for a while, I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. I think he's going to end up being innocent. I seriously think that there's going to be some backlash here. I think some of these girls may end up going to jail. Those of you who remember the Duke lacrosse case, that lawyer, the prosecuting attorney, he got disbarred. I really think there's going to be some bad consequences for these people. That's what I think. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. Wow. Jalen Waddle does not make sense to Detroit at all. So if you're seeing mock drafts with Waddle to Detroit, I don't get that at all. Here's the drill. Here's why I don't like it. Missed half the season in college. You don't draft it. Okay, in my opinion, yeah, he looks like Tyreek Hill. That's it. That's an excellent comp, by the way. You don't want to draft a guy who can't stay healthy in college in the top 10, especially when you already got a guy like DeAndre Swift. Plus, you can get another player who's a deep threat later in the draft. This is a deep wide receiver draft. So if you're seeing mocks like that, I'll be honest, I can see a lot of players going to Detroit. I can see Detroit getting very creative in this draft. Now, if Detroit traded down somewhere, well, I was going to say 14, but that's not going to happen. They're going to trade. Let's just say 15. Let's just say they traded New England. Okay. Let's just say they trade with New England. Could Detroit take Waddle at 15? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? Hey, One Pride 40. Right now, I'm only allowing 2 mods, but as the show grows, you will get one. It's just a matter of time. So it just, by the way, all my social media should be below. Make sure you follow me on social media, but don't look at it as a negative. You've been with me for a very, very long time. So as the show grows, you will definitely get a wrench in the future here. Salad Dodger, what's up, brother, man? By the way, I love this. I love the icon there. It is just fantastic. I had an energy drink just right before I came on, but I'm still drinking coffee. Very jacked up. They're starting. Oh, really? I didn't know that they were throwing out the cases. The last thing I know is that the girls all of a sudden now have to put their name. They have to be public. They're just not anonymous Jane Does. And now it's starting to get real. And bottom line, it's funny because there's some channels I follow that aren't sports related. They think that Houston Texans started all of this. That definitely did not happen. But I didn't know they were throwing out the cases. So, yes, he lost Nike and Beats by Dre. And the lawyer who is doing the prosecuting, he kind of factored that in. And that's the reason why he came at Watson with the settlement and saying, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. Here's the deal. Watson will make up that money. Don't feel bad for Deshaun Watson. And now keep in mind, I cannot emphasize this enough. If he's guilty, we're going to crucify him, okay? I think he's innocent. I'm going to stand by that he's innocent. And people that okay, he's going to lose money. That's fine. But people that think that he should be kicked out or that other action should be taken when no proof has been shown yet, I don't like that. We live in a country innocent till proven guilty. I'm going to stand by it. No, you're not. I'm also sick of the trade back and still gets our guy comment when they give us Smith. I'll be honest with you. I don't see any one of those trade situations. I don't see Detroit taking a wide receiver at 7. I would be really, really, really surprised. Really surprised. Here today, they're going to test the guy's brain for CT. Oh yes. It's actually funny. I remembered a player. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. Really sad story. Very, very, very sad story. And I think his dad, if I remember right, on ESPN, his dad said that he blames football for it. And CT is no joke, folks. CT is no joke, and it's really sad. I haven't looked into it too much, but I don't really think there's an association with like the guy wasn't going after these people. It wasn't like a robbery or these people wronged him in some way. It was it just kind of lost it. So I don't know really how to. I'm glad you brought it up. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how to address it though, because it's kind of a situation where I hope that I hope some way, somehow, something good can come of it. And I really don't see how it can be. It's very sad. Very sad. Duke's kids were set up by a governor a little. Yes, I forgot about that. There were the Brian Banks story. It's on Amazon Prime. I've yet to see it. For those of you who don't know, Brian Banks, a 5-star player, was going to go to USC when Pete Carroll was there, would have won a couple national championships, would have easily gone pro, barring injury. He broke up with his girlfriend. She accused him of rape, and he went to jail for 5 years. The Baylor situation, Sean Okafor, he went to jail for 18 months. I remember in a mock draft, he was going to go number 1. A mock draft had him going number 1. Ended up with that Baylor sex scandal. The head coach, Art Broyles, was fired. He ended up winning a $40 million civil suit because he was fired without cause. It was all just baloney. And I think more and more people are, man, this is not the right channel to talk about how women are saying, I'm going to use the word grape because I don't want to get sanctioned, but bottom line, there's things out there that women are saying that are causing men to go to jail and ends up being not true and nothing happens. And that needs to stop. The Brian Banks story, Deshaun Okafor story. Those are two people. The Duke lacrosse team. But anyway, I'm kind of going. I'm going to get back. I think Brad's looking for a two-way weapon. If you're talking about a quarterback, I'm going to stand by. I think Detroit drafts a quarterback next year. I think they get a player who can help this year and becomes a fundamental building block. That's kind of why I like Penei Sewell, who I think's a guard. I think's a guard in the NFL. A lot of people say, forget the arms, just watch the tape. That's not true at all. There's a lot of great tackles in college that have to move inside. Remember Greg Robinson? He was the number 2 player overall. He was the guy who crossed I think, Arizona state border for like 180 pounds of weed. He was a left tackle that had to move inside. And I think the same can be said for Penei Sewell. I think he's a guy who plays inside. You want to play him at right tackle, I'd be okay with that. I feel very comfortable if Detroit picks at 7. I think Penei Sewell will be the pick. I think he's going to be available, and I think it's a perfect pick for the Lions, who you can move him to right tackle or you can move him to guard. And I think it would be a great move. So, yep, like you said, the receiver class is deep. Now if they trade back and take Funk's Boyd Jenkins, that makes a lot of sense. Yes. You could take you could trade back maybe somebody like Kadarius Toney. I'm drawing Rondale Moore maybe in the second might be a little rich. The kid out of Purdue. I have a major man crush on that guy. He's a guy that I would love in Kansas City, like in maybe in round 3 or 4. But for Detroit, take a wide receiver at 7, especially a smaller receiver, that doesn't make any sense. At least not to me. So they didn't throw out the cases. They were told they would not accept any cases. Yes, okay. That's the same thing that I heard. Was that now the women have to attach their name, and that's a big deal now, because when you're putting your name on something anonymously and you're just waiting for a handout, that's one thing. But now that you're going to be held accountable, plus if it comes out that you lied about this, you could face jail time. That's a different story. Why would all this come out when he wants to leave Houston? Okay, this is a very popular topic. A lot of people feel like the Houston Texans orchestrated all of this. That's 100% not true. My opinion is that because he's a polarizing, popular figure, and he's just a target. All right. I don't follow baseball. Okay. I don't follow baseball. So somebody who does follow baseball may be able to tell me something different. But is there anybody who lives in the city of Houston that's worth 9 figures that is subject to something like this? I don't know. Bottom line, here's what I think. I think he was somebody who was in the press. I think he's somebody who people know that is rich. And I think it was just some sleazy lawyer and some questionable women got together. I think they're like, hey, let's see if we can make it quick. 6 figures. Deshaun Watson played hardball, and he said no. He said no. I'm innocent. Go ahead, take your best shot. I think it's just a shakedown due to a very popular figure who was in the news all the time. Deshaun Watson was in the news constantly, and this is a perfect example of somebody who's in the news. It's a public figure, and I hope that, like I said, if he's guilty, we will crucify him here. But I think what it is that he was in the news. He was a popular figure. I think some people, because what is the best way that people get rich nowadays? It's trying to sue somebody or trying to divorce somebody instead of just, all right, went on a rant there, but yes, he's far from guilty. I don't think he's guilty. I'm going to stand by it. If he's guilty in the court of law, I'll crucify him. I think he's innocent. I think it's a shakedown. And I really hope that if it is a shakedown, that the people responsible, I hope they pay fines and go to jail. Yes, I think so. I'd be shocked if the Lions went wide receiver at 7, unless it's Pitts or Chase. In my mock draft, I have both of them gone. But I could see Pitts, who I think is a wide receiver. If somehow he got to Detroit, I could see that being the pick. Yes, we will. I'm sorry. This is all starting by yes. And again, this is a subject that I would actually love to talk about, to be honest with you, but I'm going to stick with what I know, and that's football. Full disclosure, I'm not a draft expert, but I love the NFL draft. It's my favorite topic to talk about. So I want to hear what you have to say too. Full disclosure, though, a little minor rant. For those of you who did watch my Tennessee Titans video, I released it a little later. I am having some buyer's remorse because I keep flip-flopping on which one I like. I went with Asante Samuel because Asante Samuel Sr. played with Mike Vrabel in New England. He was they won some Super Bowls together, and I see a lot of the same type of player. But Trayvon Moore, that's a day one starter at safety versus a guy who would come in and be a nickel and then a starter in 2022. So I'm kind of keep going back and forth. So Slater might be better. I think Sewell has more upside, and I don't think that's debatable. But Slater, I think, would come in and be a very solid either guard or tackle. I think Penei Sewell has much more upside. And I think that for the Detroit Lions, who I think are just going to do a rebuilding process, you can bank on potential over production. But yeah. This is a good one. What do recent assistant hires Russ Callaway, Ryan Anderson, and Carter Blount do to the Giants coaching staff, and specifically how much they help Joe Judge as a second-year head coach? I heard the names Russ Callaway and Carter Blount. I'm drawing a blank on what they did. Ryan Anderson, if I remember right, played linebacker, if I remember right. How they help specifically without knowing what positions they're going to coach, because I didn't have a chance to do show prep, and I don't know. And that's one of the things I love. This I go live, you ask questions, I have answers. To be honest with you though, Gary, I don't have a specific answer for you, but one thing I do know is that I really like what New York's doing. All right, they started off 0-5. Jalen Hurts plays the whole game. Last game of the season, they're 6-10, but have a chance to win the division. You get your best player, Saquon Barkley, back. You did lose Tomlinson, which is a big loss, but you did sign Leonard Williams I think he's franchised. Drawing a complete blank, but yeah. But ultimately, I love what New York's doing right now. Today, New York's my team to win the East. That's not a great answer, but that's the one I'm going to give you. And I apologize because I don't know what these three hires are. I don't know what positions they're going to coach. So, and I'm not going to sit here and go on to Google because I want to get to everybody's questions. I want you to continue firing away. But if I knew what positions they coached, then I could give you a better answer. But the short answer is it's going to help Joe Judge a lot. Because remember, he was a rookie head coach last year. They struggled coming out of the gates. Saquon Barkley got injured. So now you get healthy Barkley. Everybody knows, everybody's on the same page. I think these coaching hires were brought in to help. And I think that they make the team even just a little bit better. Right now, the Giants are my favorite to win the NFC East. But we got a couple. We have the draft in a couple months to go through. So. Hey man, I respect women too. Funk does. So that's awesome, Funk. I like Jenkins more. I'm drawing a blank, man. Which one? Oh, you like Tevin Jenkins. Yeah, and you know what? I feel like a jerk because I watched that play that he had against Osai, and I keep watching more of him, and I like him, and I'm like, why is he not off my board yet? So I know you're thinking the same thing. Why do I have him? Yeah, Greg Robinson, it was over 180 pounds of weed he tried to cross the border. You're the second overall pick. I want to say 2013. No, not 2013. God, what draft? What 2010? And he bounced around. He ended up playing guard. I remember Cleveland brought him in. One of them played guard. Got pushed at tackle. He wasn't going to be re-signed. And then as a free agent, tried to smuggle. It was over 180 pounds of weed through the border. And it's like, you've got to be kidding me. Because some team would have signed him. Some team was going to sign him. He was talented enough to be an NFL starter. Maybe at guard instead of left tackle. But Jenkins more than Slater? Really? Wow. I don't think Funk means that, but you tell me, Funk. Unless it's Chase. Yeah. I can see that. Oh, wow. Okay. Over Slater. I love, okay. Jenkins would be a major reach at 7. Major reach at 7, but if you like him, go get him. Go get him. What's your knock on Slater? He put Chase Young on L's. This is great debate, guys. Plus, he's got great hands and natural on the right side. I'm surprised you know what? You guys make me feel like a jerk because I don't even have him off my board at 22 yet. Here, I'm gonna tell you this though, Funk. If it was last year's game, I actually watched that game. Texas won that game. Osai had 12 tackles, 6 for loss, 3 sacks. So if he got blown up on that one play, but recovered with 12 tackles, 6 for losses, 3 sacks, and if most of that was against Jenkins, that's a major red flag. But I remember watching that game, and Osai dominated. I was like, this guy's going to be a first-round pick. Then his pro day was off the charts. He put on 15 pounds of muscle, 41.5-inch vertical, 11.11 broad jump. Those numbers are more important for a defensive line than the 40, because what you're measuring is his explosiveness. And here's a guy put on a lot of muscle, and he put up DB numbers on the jump. So you should throw up a draft simulator and we can do a mock draft. You know what? I did that last year. Instead of just doing individual videos, it really wasn't that good. But yes, I actually am a big fan of the Draft Network. I follow them a lot. But yeah, I thought about doing a mock draft. The Wednesday before the draft. Oh man, I got something in my eye. I promise I didn't miss and do a bunch of blow in my eye. I would never put blow in my eye. What is it? The draft's 29th, I think, the 28th on a Wednesday. I'm going to go live. I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to do my whole first round mock. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do the mock. I'm not going to do a draft simulator, but I've thought about it, and I did it last year. I did each division, set all 8 divisions. I did 3 rounds just for fun. It wasn't really very popular, but I would kind of like it if we had a lot of people getting involved and we had a group mock draft, because I wouldn't mind doing a mock draft and then like I could do a pick and then one of you guys could do a pick, so. Oh God, Marv Albert. Yes. I forgot about it. Yes. There was a rumor that he was what was it? He was kind of a sexual freak, but he was a little freaky, but he didn't do anything illegal. And so just because he just didn't want to deal with it, he said, you know what, here you go. So he blindsided. You're talking about the Osai and Tavon. So whoops, sorry. Here's my current dream scenario. New England trades up. We get a second, walk away. And another pick that we can use to move back up to 21 or so we walk away JOK and Jenkins. That would be a great draft. That would be a great draft. See, I think that you use this pick for something solid, and if golf doesn't pan out, you use your 2 number ones next year to trade up and get your guy. Biggest mistake we ever made is getting with Mike. Man, I really want to kind of rant and go on, but we're gonna. This is awesome, Mike. By the way, Mike, I'm very, very glad you're here. I kind of wanted to talk about something. You made me forget, but the movie. Oh, the Blind Side. Yes, he did. I forgot that. Go Jenkins, Snake Cox, and Grant in a second. Yes, Mike's on fire. Trade back. Yeah. I could see that happening. I could see New England and Detroit making a trade. I actually could see that. Denver Gators in the house, man. Welcome, Denver Gator. What is up, my peoples? Max smoke screen for Niners, grabbing Fields or Lance. If not, Denver will go for either. Lock, still my guy, but there are some special QBs. Okay. I'm going to stand by this, and I'm in a small minority. The Jets are going to take Justin Fields at 2. They're going to take Fields, and the Niners make this trade because they want Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson's my number 2 quarterback. That's my opinion. I think this whole Mac Jones thing is a complete smokescreen. I don't think the Niners want him. And okay, small rant. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum. A lot of people look at the Shanahan offense as what he did in Atlanta, and that's not true at all. All right, let's go to Washington. Remember, Mike Shanahan took over at Washington. They had RG3. What is RG3? A mobile quarterback. They really wanted Cousins, and Cousins is not a scrambler, but he's not a pocket passer either. He can move around. See, the whole Shanahan offense, and then remember they went to Cleveland. That's where Mike Shanahan went originally. They drafted Johnny Manziel because he can move around. Because the Shanahan offense is a zone read offense. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me sorry, misspoke. A zone blocking scheme, but it's part of the West Coast offense, which revolves around a mobile quarterback. See, what you want to do is you have your offensive line, and the offensive line in a zone blocking scheme goes to a section. So you want to have smaller, faster, quicker, agile linemen. Then it relies on a lot of bootlegs and misdirection from the quarterback. It really requires a mobile quarterback. But everybody focuses on Atlanta. See, the Shanahan offense is really a variation of the West Coast offense because where did Mike Shanahan come from? San Francisco under Bill Walsh. The zone blocking scheme is just a variation of the West Coast offense, which relies on a mobile quarterback. But when he went to Atlanta, Matt Ryan's not mobile, but he used a lot of principles of the West Coast offense. All right, they used a lot of the level plays, a lot of those two-way routes, and Matt Ryan, very underrated quarterback, by the way, made that offense excel. Okay. People think that you want a pocket passer in the Shanahan offense. That's not true at all. It's built for a mobile quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, one of the big pluses about him is that when you move him around, he was accurate, but he can't. The Chiefs famously during the Super Bowl said, hey, look, we know he can't throw the ball 15 yards downfield. And that is why I think the Niners want Zach Wilson, and that's why they made the trade. I don't think it's because they want a pocket passer. I think they want a mobile quarterback with a bigger arm than Garoppolo. That is Zach Wilson. I don't think it's Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is smokescreen. I don't remember, but I know Osai had a great game. And then when you guys start talking about it, I watched that clip. And I don't know if that clip was from 2 years ago or last year. I full disclosure, I don't know. All right, sorry, I'm behind on comments with my ranting. I wasn't against Jenkins. Jenkins was used to block inside. Okay. Gator, I don't think it's a smoke screen when Schefter. I do think it's a smoke screen. Teams do this all the time. They release misinformation. Case in point. Oh, God, what's his name? Denver Gator. I know you know. The Chiefs brought in the quarterback from Memphis, Brock Osweiler. They brought in Osweiler twice. They were convinced. They put a smoke screen. Oh, Brock Osweiler coming. They were never going to draft Brock Osweiler. Chiefs fans were convinced that was going to be the pick. The Chiefs had no interest in this guy. They tricked Denver into drafting him, and he sucked. And that's what teams do. There's all sorts of misdirection in the draft. It's not a misdirection from Schefter, but the 49ers are putting on a smokescreen, complete smokescreen. Osai is mediocre to me. He might be, but a 41.5-inch vertical and an 11.11 broad jump is you're not going to find a defensive lineman or outside linebacker who's almost 260 have those type of numbers. So what's really impressive to me is that he goes from 245 to 260, but his metrics are that of a defensive back. I think he ran a 4.6. But that forget the 40. 41.5 and 11.11, that will make him go in the first round. Just on his pro day, he'll go in the first round. I think I got him going 11 to the Giants. He's going to go a lot higher than you think. You may not like what you see on film, but put 15 pounds on him and have him move like a defensive back. You know, that's gotta impress you a little bit. So what coaches is on hot seat? Matt Nagy from Chicago is definitely on the hot seat. Matt Nagy 100% is on the hot seat. Kyle Shanahan's going to be on the hot seat. I think the 49ers may have a terrible season. Even if they get Zach Wilson, they may go 4-13, just clean house. I really believe that. I really think that the 49ers, and I'm Lynch and Shanahan, they may go. Matt Nagy, coach of the Bears, he's on the hot seat. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Minnesota's going to have a good season, but if Minnesota goes 6-10, Zimmer will be gone. Vic Fangio may or may not be on the hot seat. I'm leaning against it because he was involved with the general manager, the new guy that they got from the Vikings. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, check it out. See what you think. If you watch the film, you can see Jenkins crash down all but one of the plays. Okay. All right. So okay. I hadn't had a chance. I didn't watch the whole. I watched the whole game. I haven't rewatched it. I just remember watching Osai and just being like, "Wow, this guy's good." Drawing a blank on who this guy is. Pete, what's up, brother? I might be crazy, but I see Mac Jones as a Jet. That's possible. I'm going to stick with Justin Fields, but I do believe this. I believe the Niners talk to the Jets. The Niners know who the Jets are going to take, but that might be the pick. And Robert Saleh, it's going to be interesting because I think that they're going to run a pretty simple offense. They're going to run the San Francisco offense. They're running the San Francisco defense. So they're going to stay at 2. They're going to draft a quarterback. I'm going to stick with Fields, but that's actually not as crazy as you may think. That actually could be the pick. One Pride 40 disagrees. I'm going to say this. Every year, there's a player who goes that nobody sees. There's nobody sees going. Every single year. If the damn Jets take Fields too, I would. Fun fact about Jones going to the Niners, the Bama head coach, I'm drawing a blank on his name, said he didn't even talk to the 49ers about Mac, but he talked about, that's interesting, Nick Saban. Mac Jones looked better in Alabama with way less talent around than Jones. You know what? That's not. I can agree with you. He actually did look better in Tua, and he didn't have the injury concerns. I don't know if that's debatable if he had more or less talent. Bottom line, Alabama the last 3 to 4 years has had, well, except for 2 years ago with LSU, but for the last 5 years, Alabama's had more talent than anybody. I mean, but yeah, I think Jones looked better in Tua. I like Tua a little more because I like the mobility. I like the ability to throw on a run. Mac Jones can't do those things, but Mac Jones does have a good arm. I'd feel a little more comfortable if he was a little bigger. I also kind of worry because what are you going to do in the pros when you have less talent than you had at Alabama? And that's not an exaggeration either. I mean, look at talent that he had at Alabama. He's going to go to an NFL team, let's say a top 5 NFL team, right? He's going to have less talent. He really is. It's not an exaggeration. I'm not insulting him, but I mean, look at the line. Look at Najee Harris. Najee Harris, when he gets drafted, he's going to be what? A top 10, 12 running back in the league? That's not far-fetched. Hey, James, hit me up on this, man. I'm sorry, I'm really behind. Oh, wow, I'm really behind. When you say two-way weapon, you're talking about running, passing, quarterback, or are you talking like a receiver who can be used like a running back? Can you emphasize that? James, are you talking a Pitts or Q? Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. Honestly, you have to wait 2 years to get their guy. As a quarterback for the Detroit Lions, yeah, wait 2 years. You get 2 number ones, right? Make a big trade next year. This year, draft the foundation. Use your 2 number ones next year. Pitts would give him fits. Pitts is my number 1 player who's not a quarterback. So, and I'm going to stand on it. I think he's going to Cincinnati. I don't see any way he doesn't go to Cincinnati. I'll be shocked if Cincinnati doesn't take Pitts. What the hell is this line? I got some Lions love here, man, and that's awesome. I was on a Lions show a couple times, and so I got lots of Lions love. I love my Lions fans too, man. They've been awesome here. Yeah, we talk a lot of Lions here, man. My reasoning is there are lots of Saints influence in the Lions. I think Campbell wants a guy like Taysom. Yes, I could see that. Okay, I got it here. Brock is like a 6'8". Is he the guy from oh God, is it Northern Iowa? Is he that guy? Or is it North Dakota State? Paxton Lynch. I'm sorry, you're right. Paxton Lynch. They brought him in twice. The Chiefs had no intentions. They suckered Denver into it. I'll believe that from now to end. Denver Gator, Chiefs fans still believe Paxton Lynch would have been the first round pick. No. I agree with you. I think Campbell can sell a two-way guy. Just might be Lance. I could see that. Nagy and Pace both in Chicago. Yes. I forgot to mention the GM in Chicago. Definitely on the hot seat here. What does your gut tell you? Take Lance, go to Cowboys, draft him, and trade Prescott to the Dolphins for draft picks as insurance for Tua being too bust or too injury prone. No. The Cowboys are going to roll with Prescott, and the Dolphins are going to roll with Tua. As far as Lance goes, I personally am going to stand by that he'll go 4 to Atlanta. I think Atlanta's kind of going on a fishing expedition right now. And what's going to happen is that if they can get a good enough, compensation, they'll go ahead and move down, fish for a quarterback next year, because next year has some good quarterbacks coming out. So I personally think that they're going to fish, but I think Atlanta will take Lance at 4 and sit him for 2 years. That's my gut reaction. The Cowboys and Dolphins are fine at quarterback. They love their guys. They're going to Tua and Prescott are going to be starters. Neither one of those teams are going to trade those players this year. Lance is a big dude, man. Lance is a big dude, man. By the way, even though I'm behind on comments, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I'm looking at StreamYard. I have no idea what's going on YouTube. I may have 10,000 downvotes or dislikes or whatever. Give me a thumbs up. It would really help me out. I would appreciate it. Mike apparently, it's a Lions fan hosted by kneecaps and assholes. Solid Dodger calling me an asshole. It is a great name. I love it. James, you don't want your QB running over people. He's going to get hurt or whatever he said. Boofa in the house. Yes, it does, because at this time, when they brought Paxton Lynch in, Denver beat Kansas City, I think 9 straight times, and Manning was just coming in Arrowhead and anal raping the Chiefs. And before that, Tim Tebow came into Arrowhead, completed like 1 or 2 passes, not an exaggeration. It was like 1 or 2 out of 11, and still beat the Chiefs like 14-13. It was impossible. So let's hear the Funk's top 5 tackles, starting with Jenkins. Well, the truth is, I really don't know who the Lions will pick. Yes, nobody knows. I'm guessing Sewell, but in all fairness, I really think Detroit's going to try to trade down. You got Zach Wilson. Most people do. Sadly, Gruden deserves to be on the hot seat, but no, they can't fire him. Devontae and Waddle go first round. Tua played with 4 first-round talent receivers. Mac Jones only played with 1, and Smith. Waddle was hurt. That is true, but the backups that are there are probably going to be first-rounders also. So if the defense didn't suck so bad, we could take Pitts and destroy the division. Funk is Jenkins and kneecap biter. 2022 is full of defense. I can see that. This is an offense. Okay, fair enough. DJ, you or Grayson McCall in 2023? Is Grayson McCall to Clemson, dude? Oh, so Burrow. Okay, with Burrow, you have your left tackle in Jonah Williams. All right, he missed all of 2019, got injured early in camp. 2020, he played solid. Being that you have your left tackle solidified, it's the other 4 spots. 2 or 3 of them were filled out in free agency. So I think that's kind of questionable. A lot of people feel like Cincinnati didn't do anything. Yes, they did. Plus, they have their left tackle already solidified. He was their first-round pick. They have some young players in the interior. Basically, there's only one spot I think that's really questionable. That's right tackle. And in this draft, you can get starting right tackle in round 2. Plus, the Bengals could easily trade back into the first round. But they've been drafting heavy offensive line for the last couple of years. People act like they haven't drafted anybody in the first round. I'm throwing a blank on his name. It didn't work out, but he was a center. Matter of fact, you Lions fans know, because I thought that you were going to take this guy. Instead, you drafted the kid from Arkansas who went to a Pro Bowl last year. Really good player. They drafted him 2 years ago, and then 3 years ago, and then Jonah Williams in the first round last year. He's your left tackle. He's actually a pretty damn good player, but he was basically a rookie last year. Don't forget, guys, give me a thumbs up. Cousins was dying. Yes, he was. I really liked him. I really liked him out of Michigan State. Yes, Brock, the Arizona State quarterback. And I don't know what you're referring to, but that's why I can't pronounce that. But yeah. All right. Sorry. Behind no comment. Okay. Sewell's number 1. Slater, Jenkins, Little, Raduz. I know I'm probably higher on Raduz than most people. Oh, he's a Little. And Little is the Stanford tackle. Has been hurt a little bit, but his game tape is impressive. That's interesting because I've been hearing he's been rising in draft boards. Like I was originally like 3rd. Now he's coming up to 2. And a guy like that, Kansas City, a team like Kansas City may be interested in the first round. So, Serper? I have no idea what that is. I have a bold take. I think Brad wants Dwayne Eskridge because he wants speedy receivers. I love this kid too. I'm not finished with my first round mock. He's the kid out of Western Michigan. He's actually got good size. If I remember correctly, at his pro day ran 4.38. Could go late first, but I don't want to say, but probably a guy who's going to be like 2 or 3. Love this kid though. Yes, he's a kneecap biter. Jenkins is considered, yes. All right. The Bear, as Robbie Anderson said. I didn't know you're a Bears fan. That's awesome. Man, that is super awesome. I think and Brad wants Surtain too. I have a major draft crush on Patrick Surtain. I think Dallas loves him. I think there's a possibility that Dallas and Detroit could do a flip. Surtain actually, when I originally had my mock, I had Surtain actually going to Detroit. Then I was like, well, I don't see them going corner twice in a row. Even though it's a new regime, I don't see them going corner twice in a row. That's why I'm kind of going with Sewell, but I have a major man crush on Surtain. I think he's a day 1 starter, and I think he's going to be awesome. Sir Person, okay, you're a Panthers fan. That is awesome. And I haven't seen Dustin here, and I kind of want, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this time. There's something interesting that happened, and it's between One Pride 40 and Funk. During my Colts videos, they had a back and forth in the comments, and go to that video and look at the comments. But basically, they just kept on going back and forth over Justin Fields and Trey Lance. The reason why that's important is because what they did is exactly what NFL teams do and NFL scouts do, is that they go back and forth between players. There's going to be some team out there, like let's just say the Jets, because I got Justin Fields going to the Jets at 2. There's going to be a team out there that's going to say, hey, Justin Fields is my number 2 quarterback. We should take him here. There's going to be another scout who's going to say he's my number 15 player, and they're going to watch the same tape but have 2 different opinions. And that's something that's really interesting about the draft, because I respect One Pride 40. I respect Funk. Their opinions are completely different. If you are a fan of the show, last year, me and Funk were apart on everything. This year it's kind of weird because we've been agreeing on a lot of stuff, but sometimes you watch film and you get two different opinions of players. I think of Salad Dodger who said he's not a fan of Osai. I watched him. I was a huge fan of Osai. We probably watched the same game. We just got two different opinions. That happens within NFL teams. You'll have scouts that will come into the same team and they'll see two different things. And it's kind of interesting because I'm kind of just showing you what goes on in the draft room. Same thing with Mike and Dustin. They were completely arguing on the Sam Darnold trade where Mike just say, hey, look, Darnold can't play, man. He's been in New York for a while. He's seen ghosts, can't play. Dustin, on the other hand, was saying, hey, man, look, he had no talent there, bad coaching, bring him down to Carolina. He's going to do a great job. You have back and forth like this with teams. Different teams will say different things. You'll have teams that have in-house scouts that will argue about players. I've heard crazy stories about scouts getting into fistfights over disagreements. None of that here. We all love each other here, but I do want to hear everybody's opinion. So that's awesome. I got Panthers fan. The Panthers are an entertaining team this year because what are they going to do at 8? Very interesting story. Very, very jacked up today. God, I love the draft. I'm really waiting. Oh, God, I am really behind. I love the Bears running back Cordell Patterson. That dude just destroys the Lions. Dude, I would love to have Cordell Patterson on the Chiefs. Special teams ace. I would not even have him play offense. I love him on special teams. You think a quarterback looks to run first and throw second has the ability to throw a la Lamar Jackson is better than vice versa in the long run, or is it even the future? Okay. I get what you're saying. You're talking about a quarterback who wants to run first. I don't think it's the future in the NFL. I think it's the exception. And you're going to always have it in the NFL, and you always have. John Elway, well, actually, you could go, was it Bobby Douglas in the 70s with the Chicago Bears, 14-game season. He almost had 1,000 yards. John Elway was considered running quarterback. Then you could actually go further back and go Fran Tarkenton, Bobby Douglas, John Elway, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, and you're always going to see it. Ultimately, a quarterback has to be able to throw the ball. All right? You have to be able to throw the ball. Quarterbacks that run first, throw second, that are successful in college will not have success in the NFL. Is there a guy like Lamar Jackson? Yes. Could you have a guy like or Robert Griffin III who has that great rookie season? Yeah, you'll see that. Justin Fields, a lot of people feel like he's that way. I don't. I think he has the ability to run, but he's going to be a passer first. Cam Newton, if you remember, when he was a rookie, his first 2 games, he threw for over 400 yards. Those first 2 games, only 2 400-yard passing games in his career. Pretty weird. But that's an exception. It's not going to be the rule. I think that you'll see quarterbacks. Mac Jones is not going to be a runner. I get a little irritated when I hear Patrick Mahomes as a dual threat quarterback. He's not. Aaron Rodgers is a guy who can run, but he's not a running quarterback. Excuse me. Excuse me. But I think that it's the exception. And even though you may see a few more like Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson, I don't consider Deshaun Watson a dual threat quarterback, though he does have the ability to run. He's a passer first. So you'll see quarterbacks that can run, and that may be more pro. You may see that more often. Let's just say that. You may see that more often, but quarterbacks have to be able to throw the ball. This is a passing league. If you're a statue, but you could throw the ball, you will still have a place in the modern NFL. Let's see what happens with Mac Jones. All right, we got the Darnold trade. That's right. It was Billy Price. Yes, they drafted him in 2018, and then 2019, it was Jonah Williams. So Cincinnati has been drafting offensive linemen. A lot of people don't feel like they have been, but yes. I've always liked Cordell Patterson. I always have. It gives Carolina more options, and they still land one of the top QBs. See, you and Dustin, I haven't seen Dustin in the chat today, but a lot of people feel like the Panthers are still going to take a quarterback. I do not. I don't think you give up a second, a fourth, and a six this year, second and fourth next year. You don't give up that type of trade compensation for a guy and then draft another quarterback. I don't think you are, but let's see what happens. I mean, this is kind of a new regime. They're doing things a little differently in Carolina, which ultimately I like. How good's Darnold going to be in Carolina? It's really a crapshoot. I don't think you could sit here and say, oh, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. I don't think you could say that he's going to be a bottom 5 or bottom 10 quarterback. It's really just, you're just going to have to wait and see. I have to admit, even though I kept on hearing about it, I really thought Rule would rather go with a college guy, but we'll see what happens. This is going to be very entertaining throughout the year to see how well he does, because I think that there's going to be lots of knee-jerk reactions. If he comes out week 1 and has a great game, people are going to consider him MVP material. And if he comes out week 1, throws 3 interceptions, they're going to call him a bust. But we'll have to see how at the end of the year how he does. He does have upside. I will say that. Darnold, you can't say Darnold doesn't have upside. Would you rather draft one? I really thought Carolina would rather draft one. I really, really thought they would rather draft one. And the reason why is that everybody, their coordinators, the head coach, everybody came from the college ranks. So I really thought that they would want to get their guy. Really, really, really surprised about this. Sally Dodger, got to get this. Mike's coming strong today. Man, I love it, man. Mike, I'm very glad you're here, brother. Panthers fan, Sam. No, you are. I'm sticking with Sewell. My final mock draft will come right before the draft. It'll come if the draft's April 29th. It'll be April 28th. It'll be on a Wednesday, but more than likely, I really, really think that Sewell is going to be the pick, but you don't know. And I'll be honest with you, I would put it a coin flip if whether they trade down or not. You know they're not trading up, but I think they could trade down. Tepper wants points down. I see Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith to the Lions. I think if Pitts is available, that's going to be the pick. And if Chase is available, that could easily be the pick. Devontae Smith, I don't see. No, Dan, Robbie Anderson was a meme. Really? I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm asking, would you rather draft a guy or get Darnold? If you're asking me, if you gave up less, I would say Darnold. But if all things are considered equal, okay. A second, a fourth, and a sixth, I thought would be a little much. Personally, if I was Carolina, I would have rather drafted Kellen Mond in the second, and just start from scratch. Just get yourself a rookie quarterback, start from scratch. That would be me. I think that if the 49ers didn't trade up, I think Carolina was stayed at 8. I think they would have got Mac Jones. That's just my opinion. I think they would have got Mac Jones. That's if you're asking me personally. I would have actually been happy if I'm the Carolina Panthers and I had complete control. And I could say, hey, Kellen Mond's going to be available top of the second. I draft him. I have a crush on Mond, so. Oh, to the Pan. Yeah, I was going to say Tepper. Yeah. Well, I can't really argue that. I mean, he does want to score points. I think that, Matt Rule's an offensive guy. Okay. Matt Rule's an offensive guy. And, they brought in the LSU offensive coordinator and he was a hot topic. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name, but, yeah. And I thought that they had the pieces in play for a big play offense. It's just Bridgewater's not the guy. Is Darnold's got more potential than Bridgewater, but they also have some pretty good pieces in play. I like DJ Moore. I like Robbie Anderson. You get CMC back. He's really good. You could get a receiver later. That's why I'd have a hard time believing. I mean, don't get me wrong, though. Chase or Pitts to Carolina at 8 would be really good. Carolina, again, could also trade down. So you got I think Detroit and Carolina are both teams that are really wanting to trade down. Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State does not look like he has short arms, even though they say so. I wish the Giants would take him. Would you play him at guard? Because you got your left and right tackle set. So, I mean, I'd be curious. Do you want to play him at guard? Because Andrew Thomas didn't play guard. Jenkins did. If the Giants drafted Jenkins, he would start at guard. So I'd be curious. A guy like Fenton from UCLA. Is he a tackle? I'm drawing a blank. Salad. If Atlanta doesn't trade with Denver for a QB, your squad becomes a landing tree for a trade up for a QB. Best benefit from the Darnold trade. Atlanta's interesting because if I'm Atlanta, I use this opportunity on Lance and just you could just sit there and just have him sit for 2 years. But if you want to go ahead and you want to go ahead and trade down, I do agree that Atlanta is kind of the best benefit from the Darnold trade because Atlanta's really the hot button because Atlanta is a team that could draft a quarterback. But since they've made it public that they want to trade down, they want a lot. I saw a mock draft with Denver giving up, I think it was a first and a second this year and a first next year. That's not going to cut it. Denver would have to give up a lot more because Atlanta, it's a buyer's market. And let's just say you don't want a quarterback, right? You just take Pitts. With a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Hall of Fame receiver, Pitts on that Falcons team would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun. So I think Atlanta's really hoping that they could get the same thing that Miami got. Now was it three number ones and a third? That's what they're probably looking at because Matt Ryan can play for another couple of years and you're in good shape. So yeah, Atlanta does really benefit from this trade more than any other team. But if I'm Atlanta and unless I get something really good, I use that 4th round pick on a quarterback and then just have him sit for a couple of years. You can draft a quarterback and have him sit for about 2 or 3 years. Oh, man, I am sorry. I didn't think I was that behind on comments here. Panthers may get Kyle Pitts or receivers. They could. Absolutely. I think that both Detroit and Carolina want to trade down, but if Pitts is available for either Detroit or Carolina, it's a steal. I'm going to stand by. I think he's going 5 to Cincinnati. Quinn is unpredictable. We don't know. No, you have no idea. We are one pride. We show up. Yes, you do. If he falls that far. But we knew what Quinn was going to pick. That's interesting. I would rather have Mac Jones, honestly, but I'd rock with Darnold. Yeah, I was kind of surprised they made this trade, even though I kept on hearing about it. So that's all right, man. You can be corny here, brother. Cringe James. Gary Jenkins' arm length isn't has big of an issue. The guy is great at timing his hand chops when defenders try to punch him. He just swats their hand, gets him off bounce, and locks him down. You know, it's really funny. There was an old clip, and I wish I could find it, where every head coach talked about what they thought was the most important aspect in a left tackle. Some it's arms, some it's footwork. Some say ass. I think it was Madden. He's like, I want my left tackle to have this giant ass. I want this big ass because that's how he anchors himself into the ground. You don't want your tackle to get knocked off. But it's funny because every single head coach looks for a different category from their tackles. And that's what's really interesting is that somebody criticized my Redskins pick because I have Leatherwood. All right. And the guy's like, you watch Leatherwood go in second. And I said, it could happen. Matter of fact, Carolina Panthers 2 years ago, I had them taking Greg Little in the first round. They took Greg Little in the second round. But when it comes to offensive tackles, you'll talk to 32 head coaches and you have a top 5 list. It'll be completely different for every single head coach. Andy Reid's going to look for something different than Kyle Shanahan. It's there's just so many different variations. But like Funk has Tevin Jenkins high. Me, on the other hand, I'm at pick 22 in my mock draft, and he's still on the board. So UCF Jaguar, yes, I'm excited about it. I know you're excited. I actually have to ramp it up on my video because the way I have it going is I'm going to miss some. So in a perfect world this weekend, I actually do an extra 1 or 2 videos because if I do 3 a week till draft day, I'm going to end up missing a few teams. So this weekend, I may actually do the Jets and Steelers this weekend, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars Monday at 25. That way I can kind of get a few. I got to get some extra work in because if I just do 3, I'm not going to be able to hit all 32 teams because I'm going to do a video for Seattle, the Rams, and the Houston Texans. I'm going to do a video even though they're not picking in the first round. But I'm excited. I can't wait. So I love the draft. One pride had to okay that comment, and but I don't get when people mad when people. No, I love that about you, Funk. I love that about you, man, is that we can disagree. And that's what this community is, man. This is just guys talking. Basically, here it is. This is just a bunch of guys talking football. We're not always going to agree, but we're going to respect each other. We're going to be men. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. And especially when you guys I'm in Kansas City, so I have like the inside scoop on things going on in Kansas City. I want to hear what's really going on in your city. I want to know what the inside scoop is from the Detroit Lions. I want to know what the inside scoop is from the Carolina Panthers. I want to know what the inside scoop is from the Houston Texans. And that's why I kind of want this community to grow. That's why I encourage you guys to give me a thumbs up so we can get fans from different fan bases in here. So I want fan bases from everybody to come in and offer an inside opinion. But I don't want those fans who come in and, like, let's say you're a Jets fan and you come in, you're like, yeah, we drafted Justin Fields, probably 16-2 next year. I don't want to hear that. Okay. I want to hear that. So is Jenkins a plug and play unlike the other two? Well, it's funny because I think that whether you want to play him at guard or tackle, I think whoever, if you consider it in the top 10, they got to be plug and play guys. So why do I see mock drafts of Atlanta going offense or defense is terrible? Yes, you are correct there. Dean Pease is coming back. He was a longtime defensive coordinator. He was the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator. When he retired, the Titans defense just fell apart. Arthur Smith, who was in Tennessee, convinced Dean Pease to come out of retirement. Dean Pease alone will help improve that defense. And even though I think they'll take a quarterback at 4, they're going to go ahead and keep building that defense. I think they added some players, but Dean Pease alone will improve that defense. Great point, though. Great point. I think he is, but I'm just a fan, so what do I? Hey, man, I'm just a fan, too. How similar is Carolina's coach Matt Rule's offense to what Sam did at USC? See, that's the thing. I don't think it's that similar. I really don't. I don't remember exactly what I just remembered. Sam Darnold at USC. I absolutely loved him, and I also thought that he had a lot of weapons. He didn't have as many weapons as the Pete Carroll USC teams did, but he had some NFL talent at wide receiver. If I remember right, wasn't Juju Smith-Schuster on that USC team? He was one of them. They had another receiver that was really good. I think they had 2 or 3 offensive linemen that went really high in the draft. There was some talent. Didn't Nelson Aguilar and Juju Smith-Schuster, weren't those his receivers? Do I have those time zones right? Time frames right? That's the whole thing. I don't think it's that similar. Matt Rule when he was at Baylor, had a pocket passer. And it was a little different than the standard college type offense, but they did run a hurry up offense. Receivers only ran 4 or 5 routes. Robbie Anderson was actually one of his players at Temple because he started off at Temple. He was the head coach at Temple, played there for a couple of years, or coached there for a couple of years. Then he went to Baylor. But I don't think that Sam Darnold at USC did the same thing at Baylor. So I'm a little curious what specifically is it about Sam Darnold that appeared to Matt Rule? This is another thing. Is it the general manager who says, hey, look, I'm going to get you your quarterback, and Matt Rule's like, no, I don't want this guy. That's what happened at Houston with Paxton Lynch. Or no, Brock Osweiler. I got those guys mixed up. So, and that's another thing is the general manager and the head coach on the same page at Carolina? If they're not, this is going to be a disaster. But I got to believe Matt Rule wants this guy. But from what he ran at Baylor is because Darnold actually has some athleticism. I mean, he's not Lamar Jackson, but I think he ran like a 4.7 at the combine. And he was a big dude. He's like 6'4", 225, 230, has everything above average. He's above average athleticism, above average arm, above average release. It's just that he had some processing skills. NFL defenses threw him off, the famous, I'm seeing ghosts out there. That was a problem. He also threw quite a few interceptions at USC, but at USC, in his defense, they were just like, no, we got some number one receivers. Just chuck it, and roll the dice because we're good enough that, we can give a team a few interceptions. If I remember right, they played Penn State in the Rose Bowl, one of the greatest games in college football history. I believe they won that game, finished third. No. Sorry, finished fifth. I'm sorry, fifth. So glad Breeze retired. I am too. Breeze, one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time. I'm always surprised more fans don't consider him as one of the greatest quarterbacks who ever lived. And he is. Do I have him as number one? No, but I think more people should consider him. Drew Brees, in my opinion, is the most accurate passer who ever lived. Yeah, I'll stand by that. Passing league likes, when if we become a run first team? That's scary. Well, it's kind of funny because both Baltimore and Tennessee are doing that, and I'm wondering if more and more teams are going to follow that model and go old school. And that was the thing that was kind of the reason why I like Asante Samuel going to the Titans, because the Titans are a run first team. So they need playmakers on the other side of the ball that can get the ball back to them. And a guy like Samuel, I think a guy like Asante Samuel, even though he may not be a Pro Bowl caliber corner, he's good for about, as a rookie, I wouldn't be surprised if he got 4 to 6 picks. His dad used to do that. His dad was never considered a great corner, but always got tons of picks. So I don't know. Gary, I don't have a clue about. I believe Joe Brady calls the plays on offense. That's another thing. Does Darnold remind? Excuse me. Does Darnold remind Joe Brady of Joe Burrow? That's a possibility. Hey, now Jared Goff isn't very much better than Sam Darnold, so hush it. Devontae Smith going to the Giants, in my eyes, you think he'll be there at 11? Okay, great question. Yes, he will be available. I don't know if you do that. And the reason why I say that is because you spend a bunch of money on Galladay. You have Sterling Shepard. You have a Pro Bowl tight end. You're getting Saquon Barkley back. You also have another receiver, and I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. He was like the number 3 guy. You may not need it, but here's the deal. If you add a pass rusher to that defense, you're looking at top 5 defense. You're talking about elite level defense just with one pass rusher. Devontae Smith going to the Giants doesn't transform your team the way a pass rusher does. That's the way I see it. But if they think Devontae Smith's going to transform this offense, I don't, because you already got Galladay. Sterling Shepard's a solid number 2. Evan Ingram's he went to a Pro Bowl, but he's more athlete than potential. They used him on some end arounds last year, but you're going to get Saquon Barkley back. I personally think that in this draft with these receivers, how deep the draft is at wide receiver, take a possible elite pass rusher. Your defense you get a pass rusher at 11, you get an elite pass rusher at 11, and at 11 there'll be some elite pass rushers available, whether it's Kwity Paye, Azeez Ojulari. I like Jonathan Asai. Jalen Phillips. Maybe you want to get a guy who's not a 3-4 versatile guy. You get an elite pass rusher, okay? You put an elite pass rusher on the Giants. That's a top 5 defense. Top 5. Your average on offense. Last year, you're one of the worst offenses. Your average on offense. You're looking at with a 17-game schedule, a 12-13 win team. That's my opinion. I'm sorry, man. I lost some stuff here. Actually, I have Pitts going to Dallas, and Slater is still going 5 and 6 right now. Okay, so you have a Dallas. Hey, I'm going to see if I get this right. Dallas Atlanta trade. Dallas will go 4. They'll take Pitts. Slater and Sewell go 5 and 6. The only thing is I keep hearing that Dallas likes Pitts, but he's not a blocker. I mean, he's not going to block. The tight end that they got's actually not that bad. It would be interesting. Dallas is going to give up a lot, though. They'll give up a lot. That would be interesting, though. And then if that was to happen, I think Chase would be the pick at 7. So Riley Reef did pretty good in Minnesota. Didn't he retire, or am I just drawing a blank here? Gary, I think they'll draft. This is awesome. You know what? I'm at 22, and Parsons has not. Parsons is still available at 22 for me. All right, sorry guys. I didn't no idea I was this far behind, guys. Salad, you won't see me defend Goff. God, I always I thought you guys would be higher on Goff, to be honest. I always thought Matthew Stafford was a younger version of Phillip Rivers, a good veteran with a crappy team. I can see that. I did see that the latest Dan Campbell video, and I'm pumped. I did not. If you want to forward it to me, James, I would love that. Jenkins will work out a tackle for Giants because Judge likes rotating offensive linemen, so you have fresh guys, which is why Colombo left. Colombo. Are you talking about the guy who played left tackle who opted out from the Patriots? That's not the case at all. He actually opted out because his son has cancer, and that's fair. But if that's the guy you're thinking of, no, the left tackle who's coming back this year for the Giants, no, he opted out because his son has cancer. And that I was kind of against players. You know what? I'm gonna rewind. If that's the guy you're thinking of, that's not the case, and he's coming back. And then you have Andrew Thomas. Remember, you drafted Matt Pert. You drafted a tackle in the 1st and the 3rd, so you used 2 early picks on offensive linemen, plus you get your starting left tackle coming back. So I definitely don't see the Giants going offensive line at 11, but if they did, it would be at guard, which I think I'll be honest, I'd be surprised about that. Big boys. All right. I think you guys are drafting Parsons. You think Carolina will draft Parsons? That's all right, Salad Dodger. One pride if Dallas trades up in Atlanta, I can see Atlanta taking Parsons. Parsons at 10. You know, that actually does make sense because Dean Pease is really, really good defensive mind. That actually does make sense. Actually, I kind of like that, to be honest with you, man. Funk said they crazy. I've been hearing that, and I'll emphasize this: teams will always throw stuff around. I'm telling you this right now. Nick Saban and Jerry Jones have a good relationship. I 100% believe if Patrick Surtain is available at 10, that's going to be the pick. I also think that if Dallas trades up, they want Surtain. Yeah, and that puts Atlanta just ahead of New York if Jerry moves up for him. Yeah, it does. That is kind of interesting. Dodgers all fun and games until you realize you got Brady. Yeah, you'd still do. Every year when Dallas is on the clock, I just look for the flashiest guy available. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. We need a Dallas fan in here. They always try to make it a big deal when they pick, and it's annoying. It is. I want Crazy Jerry to trade up with us. I could see that. And I think the pick would be Patrick Surtain, even if Pitts is available. I think Pitts is smokescreen. I really think they want Surtain. I never thought about it, but Salad Dodger brings up a good point. Darnold goes from facing Brady in the AFC East to now the AFC South. I didn't think about it, but you're right. One Pride says, I want him to trade with us too. He might not want to take the chance. I want to be honest, Dallas is an entertaining team when it comes to a draft day. Very entertaining. You never know what they're going to do. Honestly, Dallas could trade up to 4. They could trade down to 20. I just picked an arbitrary number. I'm not saying 20 specifically. I'm just taking 24. It doesn't matter. But Dallas could do anything. Yeah, because 4 right now, if you trade up to 4, look what San Francisco gave up for 3. In Atlanta, what Atlanta's doing right now is they're saying, okay, look, the best player in the draft is Pitts. We can get the best player in the draft, but let's see what else is available. This is business 101, and this is really smart for Atlanta to just go out there and fish and say, hey, look, what are you willing to give up? Because San Francisco gave up 3 number ones in a third. So, the Giants will trade. I'll tell you this right now. I don't think the Giants will trade up. I could see them trading down. I think there's no way they trade up. Jerry does like flash. Rumors say Giants are taking Devontae Smith. I want O-line, Tevin Jenkins. If edge rusher, I don't want Kwity Paye. But if they draft defense, I wish they'd trade down, take Nick Bolton, inside linebacker from Missouri. Actually, that would make a lot of sense to trade down and get somebody like Bolton, which would add some major speed. And that's the one thing that the linebackers from New York don't have. They're actually pretty good run stuffers. They don't have speed. But when I look at the Giants, if you add a pass rusher, and Kwity Paye, I'll be honest with you, when I do my final mock draft, I might have Kwity Paye going to the Giants instead of Osai. I've been looking at my mock draft going, why isn't Kwity Paye off the board yet? It's my own mock draft, but when I do my final mock draft, I might have Kwity Paye going off the board. And the rumors that the Giants want a wide receiver, I think they're just rumors, because I actually think the Giants would like to trade down. I really think the Giants would love to trade down and get a wide receiver later. Because to tell you the truth, I don't think Devontae Smith is really the guy that they would want. I think they'd rather take a chance on a size speed guy, somebody like Terrence Marshall, maybe Kadarius Toney, maybe somebody like Rondale Moore in the 3rd round. But if that Giants defense gets a pass rusher, because Leonard Williams led the team in sacks last year, he had 11.5 sacks. He's the only guy, and he's a 5 technique in this defense. They move him inside, obvious pass rushing situations. He's the only pass rusher, and he's not supposed to be a pass rusher. So you add a pass rusher on that team, you really, really get something special in that defense. So I got Osai right now, but it could be Kwity Paye. I mean, you could trade down and maybe get somebody like Gregory Rousseau in the 20s, which would also be very fun. Nick Bolton, though, in the 20s makes a lot of sense. It really does. But he's not a pass rusher. Funk liked Nick Bolton. Have you watched Jermaine Davis or Jabril Cox? And I say this. I've been saying this for months now. I feel like I need to watch more Cox, and I'm just frustrated because I haven't. Jermaine Davis is a guy who just lit up the pro day. I think nobody was expecting him to be that fast. Has some really good film. I was kind of thinking second, third round, and then after his pro day, people are thinking he could go late first. It'll be very interesting to see where Davis goes. And Funk, I know I've been saying this. I need to watch more Cox. And I've been saying that, I think, for a month. So I wouldn't blame you if you hate me, but I call Jerry Jones. I love it, man. I really do. I wish we had a Cowboys fan here. I really do. No Funk if you want them to come to us. If Dallas wants to trade up, Carolina will take 10 and Michael Gallup. God, you know what? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. That would make a lot of sense. And then are you saying at 8 they would take Pitts? Well, let me ask you something, to Solid Dodger. Do you want Pitts or Gallup? Who was the biggest loser in free agency? That's an excellent question. God, I don't have an answer for it. I'm trying off the top of my head, biggest loser. God, that is a tough one. That is a really tough one. I know I just did the Titans, and the Titans lost multiple starters, but they did get Bud Dupree, who is a really great fit. But they also lost like 4 starters in free agency. But biggest loser in free agency, man, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, I could give you a few teams that didn't do well. My Chiefs, I really have some question marks about them. $80 million for a guard when you lose both tackles. I mean, the guard position I wasn't too worried about. I was really worried about the tackle, and then you're going to give $80 million to a guard. You lose Sammy Watkins, you re-sign DeMarcus Robinson to a 1-year deal, which first 4 years in Kansas City, his best year was last year, 44 catches, 400 yards. So my Chiefs I don't think did very well. The Raiders are kind of questionable, to be honest with you. I could easily say Houston. No, that's not fair. I don't know. I don't know. That looks like I know it's a bad answer, but I really don't have an answer. Greg Rousseau looks too slow. He's going to be a bust. Now, I don't think he's going to be a bust. He's okay. He ran 4.7. He's 6'6", 260. He's probably going to play at like 270. You got to remember something. Like, he's got these like super long arms, and the last year he played really well. He's a project. If he's a day one starter, then I don't think he's going to be good at all. If he's a day one starter, I think he would really struggle, but he's a guy who's got a world of potential. I didn't watch the pro day. I know Jalen Phillips did a lot better on the pro day, but this is a guy who's a little bigger. He's over 6'6", and he's like 265, 270 in the NFL. He's only 20, so he's probably going to play 280. And his game was never speed, but he could be. He could be, absolutely. Yeah, you caught it. Yeah, I got to watch more Cox. Okay, people don't like Rousseau, and I get that. Nick Bolton is younger than Jermaine Davis and Jabril Cox, which is why I prefer him to the Giants. And Bolton, I think, well, you know what? I don't remember what Bolton's pro day numbers are, but here's the thing: all 3 of these guys can move, and all 3 of these guys would add something. But the Giants have been very, very throughout, I don't even remember the last time they drafted a middle linebacker high. They actually really don't. They like using later round draft picks on middle linebackers, and that's something that every team has a position group that they kind of scrimp on, like they want the bargain basement. Giants have always done that with middle linebacker, believe it or not. They've done that for a long time. So I would be shocked if they used an early round draft pick on a middle linebacker. Now, if they traded back, could they? Yeah. And in this scenario, they would have to trade back with a team in the 20s. I've been saying this over and over again. I got them going to Denver at 9, but Xavier Collins is a guy that would really fit this defense perfectly. So, but by the way, if either one of these guys are available in round 2, I could see maybe not Cox. I have a hard time believing Cox is a top 40 guy, even though I know Funk loves Cox, and I need to watch more of them. I really do. If Crazy Jerry's making the calls, they won't win anything. It's hard to say. That was going to be. Here's the thing about the Cowboys: they're always entertaining during the draft. Always entertaining. People are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but I think New England or Green Bay. It's going to trade with Detroit. Green Bay, no. New England, yes. I thought we did solid. Yeah. No way Pitts lasts to 8, Dan. No. I don't think so either. I have Pitts going 5. But I'm just asking. Pitts or Gallup? I'm just asking. Now, remember, with Gallup, you get an extra pick. Giants won't take Rousseau. They don't draft guys with less than 27 starts in college. You know what? I kind of forgot about that. But it also makes my Joseph Asai pick look really smart. 3-year starter. Bolton is a $1.03. That's kind of funny, man. I'll try to send you the link to the Dan Campbell video. He visits the Ford plant. Okay. Yeah. Send it to me, James. Most fans will. Yes. Yes. And by the way, yes, if Pitts is available at 6, Pitts is going to be the pick, Mike. 100% agree with you. I just don't see any way. Everybody thinks that Cincinnati is going to go offensive line. I do not. I think there's no way Cincinnati passes on Pitts. None. But if Pitts is available at 6, 100% going to be the pick. I don't blame it. No, I don't either. He does. One Pride 40. I'm not fond of the Gators. Go! I did not know you're a Canes fan, Mike. I did not know that. I think Denver Gator is gone, but I did not know you're a Canes fan. You know what? A side note, I'd love to know what you think of Manny Diaz. I would love to know what you think of him. I am very high on him, and I think, and you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they have a top 10 recruiting class this year? I believe that's correct. So. That doesn't mean it. One Pride 40, it kind of does. It kind of does, even though it was, what was it? It'd be 25, 26 years ago. It still matters. He also is in the Pro Football Fame. Here's the thing. As a sports fan, he's just entertaining. I think it's a great villain story. Kind of, who he reminds me of is a less knowledgeable Al Davis. Al Davis is extremely knowledgeable, but towards the end, the Raiders were just a train wreck towards the last, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. Did some really crazy stuff that didn't work out, but his innovations brought something to the league. And with Jerry Jones, the whole trading for draft picks and the whole draft scale that almost every team uses, he helped innovate that. But has he done anything in the last 20-something years? Not really. But he's very entertaining. Very entertaining. Oh, New England or Green Bay is the biggest loser in free agency. New England, I would not say is a loser. No, I actually like what New England did. You brought in, you needed, okay. Last year they drafted 2 tight ends in the 3rd round. Neither one of them really panned out. All right. So they brought in 2 tight ends in free agency. They needed help at wide receiver. They got Nelson Aguilar. Those are good moves, man. Green Bay, God, who did they lose? I know they lost their left tackle. God, I'm drawing a blank on who else they lost. They signed Aaron Jones to a big contract, which I was really, really surprised about. But they really liked the guy. And he's had decent production. But yeah, I was really surprised. I see. Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. Yeah, they did. They grossly overpaid Aaron Jones. I was floored by that because I actually thought they would get rid of him. And this also makes that second round pick, the kid out of Boston College, even more confusing. I am not doing cocaine, by the way. My nose itches like a motherfucker. Diaz, yes, I watched that game. I want to say never, but I know I'm exaggerating, Mike, but I could swear I've never seen a defense look worse than I saw Miami that day. And you have Jalen Phillips. I think one of their linebackers, if not this year's, next year, is going to be a high draft pick. But yeah, I've never seen anything that bad. And I actually do like Manny Diaz as a defensive coordinator. I loved him, and I could see him being a better. I can see him growing as a head coach, but yeah, I remember that. I do remember that, and I was floored. I was really floored because didn't Miami wear the black jerseys that day? Daz, I don't know. But all right, not a fan of Diaz. Hey, Mike, let me ask you this here: is there anybody that you would want to bring in to replace Diaz as head coach? It would have to be a big name. The University of Miami, even if they're not a top 10 team, is I think a top 10 job in college football. I remember when Florida State used to be a top 10 job, and God, that was a big mistake that they let what's his name go to Texas A&M because I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's just God, he is doing a really good job. They're building something really good at College Station. So you don't pay running backs that much. No, I agree. I was really surprised. They gave him that much. Don't get me wrong, if he produces the same over the next 4 years, you could maybe justify it. But you drafted somebody in the second round last year as a running back. Why? Yeah, it didn't make sense. Green Bay's doing some really strange stuff over the last couple of years, but they've been to 2 NFC championship games, so it's kind of hard to say. Hopefully Jamal goes off. You said the Giants could trade down and draft receiver. How about Dynami Brown, wide receiver UNC? Also, do you like Cardavious Toney, wide receiver Florida, as a route runner? By the way, I love Cardavious Toney. Dynami Brown's a guy I keep hearing about, and I gotta watch him a little more because I did not think he was even close to being a first round pick. Now I keep hearing he could sneak into the first round. Cardavious Toney is a guy, depending on how far you trade down, is a guy I absolutely love. He's very similar to Sterling Shepard. I think he's more explosive. And here's the thing about Cardavious Toney. You use him on special teams. All right. Cardavious Toney's a special teams guy. If you draft him in the top 15 picks, you don't want him returning punts and kicks. If you get him in the later half of the first round, or in heaven forbid, let's just say he slips in the early second. Which he shouldn't. Well, let's just say he does. Day one kick punt returner, and he's a guy that can score on special teams. And so you have a special teams ace. Plus, you get a guy who's just really dynamic in the open field. But a guy like that for the Giants, I would absolutely love. Dynami Brown, and I'm probably butchering that name. God, I have a really hard time believing that. You know what? I'll say it. I have a hard time believing he goes in round one. Really hard time he goes in round one. So, and I thought the Drake. All right, Sally. You know what, guys? We've been going for about an hour 30. I'm starting to lose my voice. So let's just wrap it up here. Any final thoughts or questions? I'll go ahead and answer real fast before I wrap it up here. Salad Dodger, great name, by the way. Just to let you guys know, I'm going to try to get an extra video or two out over the weekend. If I don't, then I'll release the Jets, Steelers, and Jaguars this week, but I'm going to try to do one or two of those during the weekend. So you may get a surprise video during the weekend because I got to ramp it up a little bit. And I think that's all I got. Man, this is a great show. Very happy to talk to you guys. This is my favorite thing. I've been really, really looking forward to just talking football all week. I've just been excited. I love talking football. It's my favorite thing in the world. So, I mean, be able to talk football to you guys. Everybody in this chat has some really, really smart things to say. It's a good group. I need to get something involved. I can actually do this. There's an invite that I can do. I can actually, if you're using a computer, I don't know if the phone link works, but I can actually invite you in. I can invite up to 10 people, but I was thinking it'd be better to have a, I thought it'd be better to do like a call-in line, which I haven't set up yet. So, but anyway, that's all I have. Okay, that's it. And I forget what it was. He's like a video game character. I like Salad Dodger better, man. Hey, Mike, you have a great night. I'm going to end the show here. Watch for the special release either Saturday or Sunday, one of my draft videos. Even if I don't get those done, I'll still have the other three. And, of course, I'll be back next Friday. So you guys have a great week. I'll see you guys back next Friday.